And we're back with a not scheduled version of the NBA observations, but we had to break in because of the historic collapse of the San Antonio Spurs in Game 4 at MSG, up 29 in the second half, and still managed to find a way to screw it up and lose in the last second, actually 1.2 seconds, as OG Anunoby tips in a shot, and the Knicks are up 3-1. But why do I still not feel entirely comfortable that it's the Knicks series entirely? I don't know. We'll go ahead and talk about that for sure. But here with me, he had to go ahead and talk about this because, again, this is one of the biggest comebacks ever in NBA history, and it comes at the biggest stage. It is, of course, Calif Poncy from the Suave Report and the New Century Press. Calif, great to have you here. Let me quote... And let me start by quoting Mr. Charles Barkley, which is always an interesting place to start. He calls the Spurs the dumbest basketball team in the history of civilization. I'm not so sure after what I saw today. I can't be that disagreeable on. You just really had to find a way to screw it up. It's almost as if San Antonio had money against themselves on Calci.
Yeah, I mean, what they were up, was it 72-49 at halftime or something to that effect?
71-49, and then they went up by 29 in the second half.
Yeah, and then, I mean, as soon as that happened, the Knicks start coming back, and it's in the back of your head if you've been watching these Knicks, like, well, they've done this, but 29 is so many, and it's only they really started that run about halfway, maybe 5 minutes into that third quarter, and I just didn't think they had enough time. And then they get it down, and it's 15 at the break. And I said, well, I guess it's possible, but it's still 15. Are you going to have another crazy run? You already had one. And then they did, and they answered the bell and did what these Knicks have been doing all playoffs, which is not ever, don't say die, never giving up, and then just figuring out a way to win in the end. And this time, and Jalen Brunson was amazing in that fourth quarter, but it comes down to OG Anunoby on a crazy, perfectly timed, perfect touch putback that if he would have missed, they would have lost. There was no time to do anything else. So really crazy. And I mean, we've got plenty to dive into with San Antonio here, but I mean, I think we almost have to start with whatever was going through De'Aaron Fox's head after he made a remarkable play on the ball, because he knows how fast he is. He knows how much faster he is than most of his counterparts out there to tip the ball out to himself and chase it down. And then instead of just taking the foul or maybe just trying to run around with that speed and dribble it out a little bit more, he goes for the layup. And I mean, OG Anunoby is going to be the hero of this game for New York, right? This is the type of game that gets your jersey retired on the team you're on. So, I mean, this is there's almost too much to say here in one little sentence, but I mean, what a crazy historic meltdown and what a crazy historic comeback too.
De'Aaron Fox, absolutely. You don't, and he is supposed to be out there on the floor, their most experienced player. And yeah, just if he's making those kind of mistakes, it just is not good. And San Antonio should be, by all intents and purposes, be up 3-1 in the series, but their own mistakes have bit them. And I know you had mentioned the experience, and I know you were one of many that mentioned the experience, but I was always trying to tell you that their talent, especially with Wembanyama, would overcome any mistakes. But it's harder and harder to go ahead against that, because despite the talent that you see, despite the talent that got them up 29, they still, find ways to lose. And this is just, it's not good. And I will also throw this the way of Mitch Johnson as well. I think there were points in time where he could have stopped the momentum even just a little bit to try and get things out of sync for New York instead of just riding with it. I hate these coaches that just have this mentality, oh, the guys will figure it out. The Phil Jackson, it worked for Phil Jackson, but it didn't work for Phil Jackson as often as you think. It's not this golden tried and true thing that worked every single magical time. I watched those Laker games. I watched those Bull games. It did not work every single time. In fact, there's quite a few times it didn't work. But be that as it may, I just am not in love with it. I know JJ Redick does that from time to time. It's just call a timeout to settle your young team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all situational. We also have to put into context that Mitch Johnson should know that he doesn't have Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant on his team. Now, maybe we all foresee that Wembanyama may be there one day, but right now he's just a 22-year-old who's never been in an NBA Finals before. That's what he is. And I mean, he missed 2 clutch free throws late that really also allowed New York to stay alive in this, and then he also had a miscommunication. Don't want to blame it on him or Castle, but I believe it was Castle at the top. They tried to run a pick and roll late that they had a miscommunication on, and they threw it away to Josh Hart, who then whiffed the layup. But either way, that was another just mistake in a team that was just unraveling late. And that's kind of, I mean, they are young, but it's also, I want to make sure we give plenty of credit to what the Knicks did and not just say this is a disaster from San Antonio, because it's both, right? It is a total disaster from San Antonio. I don't know how you recover from this one mentally when you're the most experienced team of all time, not to mention a team that is literally the least experienced team we've seen in the finals ever, to my knowledge. So it's going to be tough for them to come back from. But I mean, for New York to be able to do this and have it at home, because I think them being at home is really what played into those missed free throws from Wemby late, maybe what played into some of those brain fog moments from San Antonio. And credit to the Knicks fans, and people give them their grief for the celebrities and all that. But I mean, you're there and you can see the camera shaking around when you're watching the broadcast. Like they bring it, it's legit. And I don't know how anyone's going to go back against the MSG Magic after that game, because I don't know how you attribute it to much else. But yeah, I mean, but with that, I agree. In this circumstance, like, it's such a young team, and they're gonna get frazzled, especially when, I mean, I thought their second best player tonight was Harper, who is literally a rookie who didn't even play in the NCAA tournament. So he's never seen anything like this situation, especially on the road. And they were just trusting him to figure it out. And yeah, I mean, you don't have Michael Jordan, you don't have Kobe Bryant, you don't have Shaq, you don't have Scottie Pippen, you don't have any of these guys who have been through all these wars and battles and just have reps of getting themselves out of these funks. None of these guys have that. And the one who does, De'Aaron Fox, was kind of, along with Wemby, I think the ones who maybe gave it away a little bit there at the end. So it was crazy on everything. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure Mitch Johnson will be looking back and kicking himself for how he handled this one, because especially, I think if you're at home, I'm a little more subscribed to within reason the let them play through it thing. But on the road in the finals, you just can't think your guys are just going to go out there and figure it out, especially because the Knicks fans have been through this enough now where when they hit the 3 to go down like 19, which is like you're like, oh, okay, great, we're down 19. They knew, like, it was loud. They stood up. They're starting to get the energy going. Like, they've been in this situation enough with this team that they believe as soon as it gets under 20. And their team showed them why again. I mean, just so crazy on so many levels.
Absolutely, indeed. But it is, of course, Calif Poncy. Calif, great to have you here. Looking like your feed is a little bit off. Just want to make sure. Okay, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Okay. Just weird as far as concerned, because right now I don't have a picture on you, but I can still hear you fine. It is, of course, Calif Poncy from the New Century Press, and also as well the Suave Report, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this. We truly appreciate it. But yes, the most historic collapse in NBA Finals history. I think the Lakers had, I guess, the most largest collapsed, I guess, but that's something they no longer have to worry about. So it is in the hands of the Spurs. But where do the Spurs go from here? They're at least going back home, maybe to make things right. And again, if you're San Antonio, you feel like you've given them at least 2 games in this series. At some point in time, the basketball gods may work the way back in your favor, and they may do it starting on Saturday.
You'd think so, but I mean, I thought the main reason I was like everybody who thought this game was pretty much done by the middle of the second quarter was because they were the team that was shooting everything and couldn't miss. And then that role just completely flipped in the second half. So I don't know. I think this is one that, especially with how young and inexperienced this team is, it's going to be hard to come back from this one. This is truly the all-time finals collapse that we've seen. And so like I said in the last part, like this is a hard thing for the most experience. Like if in 2022 Golden State would have done this when they played Boston and had been in all these battles, it would have been hard for them to come back from something like this. Not to mention a team that's just never been here before. So I don't know. I still think I probably will stick to my pick I made on here yesterday and say Knicks in 6, but I think we'll know pretty early. Like I think if the Knicks come out, and because what the Spurs have been so good at against Oklahoma City and New York is coming out and delivering that first punch. We're going to go out early. We're going to set the tone. We're going to establish the physicality we want. We're going to get the shots we want. If they come out and don't do that, I think it's going to be a tell that, man, we really, I wouldn't blame them. Like that's a hard one to come back from in 2-3 days, a travel day. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, because I think we see the same thing where the Spurs are the better team. Like the Spurs are the team who I think if they had played these games 100 times, maybe the Spurs are up 3-1 or it's at least 2-2 or whatever you want to think. But that's not how it works. You play them all once, and the Knicks have found this really special thing that we're not going to see. Indiana had a version of it last year where they hit all those crazy, 4 game tying or go-ahead shots there in the final and whatever in the fourth quarter. But it's not like this. Like this is these huge monstrous comebacks over and over again. And they've just figured this out. This isn't a crazy aberration or something we haven't seen them do already. So this is just kind of who the Knicks are, man. And the Spurs are going to, this is they're rattled. Like they were down 3-2 to Oklahoma City, but they could always say, well, we got game 6 at home, and then game 7, who knows, right? And they're without their second best player. 3-1 feels a lot different than 3-2. And I don't know. I think we're all going to need to really be paying attention to how the Spurs come out in game 6, because I think it's going to, or game 5, because I think it's going to tell us a lot about where the series could go.
Well, each and every time that they've had a disparaging loss, even in previous rounds, they have come back. And in this series, they seem to jump out with leads in virtually every game. So the thing is, maintaining it seems to be half the battle because they've lost every single lead that they've had in this series as well. Even in the game that they won, they still managed to go ahead and give away that lead to a certain extent as well. So with that, I don't know. Again, this is a learning curve for them, obviously. And people are talked about the arrogance, talked about the physicality, talked about different things. And they got some calls, I will say, in that first half that I thought should not have gone their way as far as San Antonio is concerned. So again, maybe the basketball gods found good as far as in New York's favor to finish it off. But be that as it may, I think there were just some very inexperienced and inexcusable moves down the stretch. Yeah. It's not something I could point to easily, like in Cleveland against Cleveland in that first round with the finals round, the Eastern Conference Finals in that first game when they were down by 22. You could easily see why the mistakes were happening. And I talked about Kenny Atkinson probably doing the worst coaching job ever in leaving Harden out there on an island the entire time so that Brunson kept going back and back and back and back. This was just, they found different ways to get it done. OG Anunoby and Brunson both started to get ramped up at the same time. And still, this wasn't a great job by Mitch Johnson either. And him not doing anything really to shake things up or to settle his team down as much as I would have liked probably weighs into it, a great bit as far as why they lost this game tonight.
Yeah, as inexperienced of a team as it is, like it's just as inexperienced a coaching staff, right? Like this is Mitch Johnson's, I believe, his first season as the official full-time coach. Now he coached most of last season because Greg Popovich's health situation, but this is his first season as a whole-time coach. I'm the captain of the ship. And I think we've seen it a couple times. He does subscribe to this thing clearly where I'm going to let my team work my way out of it. And maybe that'll pay benefits down the road. I'm sure it will. No matter how the series ends, we're going to obviously see a ton of San Antonio in big games for God knows how long. But a big part of it is playing on the road. And the good thing for the Spurs, I thought, was I think that the environment in Oklahoma City and the environment in New York are probably two of the 3 to 4 best in the NBA. So this wasn't going to be like they played in an underwhelming, non-crazy road environment. They went and won Game 7 at one. Like, they know how to handle these situations. So I thought maybe that, and they did navigate well in that game. So maybe that's why he just said, well, I'm just going to let them play. But as soon as they get it to like 15, 13, and when he was just kind of letting them run, I just think that I get you're young, I get there, but you got to be in the moment enough to know, like, okay, my young team is really getting, at times, especially in that third quarter, was getting carried by Harper, a rookie. Like, if they didn't have him, the Knicks might have had it down in 5-7 there by the end of the third. But Harper was making awesome finishes and dropped OG Anunoby on that little turnaround mid-ranger that he made. So, I mean, if the rookie's the only one who doesn't seem frazzled, because there was that possession where I think I want to say it was Vassell got a 3 and missed, and then they got a rebound, and then Wemby got a 3 and missed, and they got another rebound, and Wemby got another 3 and missed. And to me, and 2 of the 3 were good looks. So to me, if you're going to have a possession like that when you're already spiraling, something like that is such a boost to the crowd. And then I think I want to say New York went on to make a basket after it, although I'm not super positive of that. There's a lot of stuff to remember at the end of this game, but either way, like, the next time you get the ball back, you got to call timeout, because that's such a type of play that just boosts what's going on in an arena during a run. And I don't believe they did. I think he just kind of said, okay, we're just going to keep going, keep fighting through it. And yeah, I mean, we're totally on the same page with this. Like, it's just, you got to calm your young team down. And he just didn't do it. He just said, we're going to push through. And I think, one little tweak, one little decision that was different, and this is a different result, and we're going back to San Antonio 2-2, and I think it's the Spurs series to lose at that point with home court advantage. So I think everyone on San Antonio who isn't Dylan Harper is probably going to look back at this and have a few plays where they're kicking themselves about stuff they did or didn't do.
I agreed, and that seems to be the theme with San Antonio, that it's like a cat with 9 lives. They seem to play with the cat, and they seem to try and get rid of a life here, get rid of a life there, but they can always come back and find a way to get around it, to get it into the realm of whether they win a series or not. But at this point, I think they're running out of lives, and they're running out of mistakes that they can make. They can no longer make any mistakes as far as of this magnitude in this series, or else this is all she wrote. But I don't think that this is over by any stretch of the imagination, because again, however advantageous it looks for the Knicks, like you said, San Antonio, for all intents and purposes, should be winning the series.
Yeah, I mean, it's not over, because I do think San Antonio is the better team. I think they have the best player in the series, and they do have home court advantage remaining. But I just think that the way in which they lost, I'm not going to say it's over, but I mean, I do think I'm like 95-5 that it's going to be New York. Like, it's just such a demoralizing loss for such a young team that all this is part of the youth. And this is why, I mean, the Spurs have done so much better at this when I thought. This is kind of why I thought when OKC went up 3-2, and I think a lot of people thought, okay, well, OKC's got this, right? Like, when you're young, you just haven't been through these. You don't know how to respond to these. You don't know how much to freak out internally, how much not to freak out internally. You don't, all this stuff. Like, I think there's a reason the only team to ever come back from 3-1 in the NBA Finals had LeBron James on it. Like, he is the ultimate cerebral. I know. Don't freak out. Look at the positives. We don't need to freak out. We've been the better team in some of these games and just blown it. And they don't have. I mean, who's their LeBron? Harrison Barnes or De'Aaron Fox? Like, we just saw what De'Aaron Fox did. If he talks on the team bus, no one should be listening to him. And then, I mean, but Barnes is a bench player who I don't think even got in this game. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm 95-5 that this is going to be a New York series. And I think we'll know if it's going to be in 5 or 6, in my opinion. But I mean, how they come out and play in the first quarter, how San Antonio comes out. Because if they come out, look like they have through the last 2 or 3 rounds of the playoffs, and just come out and throw a haymaker to open the game. I mean, how many times
that was one of the defining parts of that Game 7 in OKC that ended up kind of coming down to the wire was they ran out to a good lead. That was they did that over and over again. They went up to 8-0, 12-0, 14-2, whatever against OKC. And we've seen that again in this series where they go up early and you say, here we go, finally. This is what we're expecting. This is why everyone and their mother was picking the Spurs to win this series. As much as everyone loved the story with the Knicks and respects the talent, everyone that I listened to picked the Spurs in the end. And that's kind of why, because they showed a lot of these things that in that series against what most people perceived as the favorite all season in Oklahoma City, they showed all these traits that you have to have late in games. Like, they were able to have the huge clutch Game 1 win. They were able to buckle down and keep leads. They were able to fend off comebacks. They were able to do all this stuff against a team who I think prior to this series, most people would have said was the best team in the NBA for most of the year. So for them to really have these moments, and I think a big part of it is that this is a special Knicks situation that you can't really quantify. Like, the way that they are bought in, the way that they know the pecking order, but are also able to step up, and they have all these different guys like Jose Alvarado with 2 fourth-quarter threes tonight. They're just out of nowhere. And, I mean, obviously OG hits a huge corner three, gets the block, and gets the tip in. Like, OG was insane at the end of this game, how good he was. And then Cat made a few buckets on Wemby, and Brunson made a 3 on Wemby. Like, they're just made of the right stuff. And we'll see if the Spurs, how much of that right the Spurs are too, but we'll see just how much they are, because this is only one team has ever overcome this deficit in the history of the NBA Finals. And like I said, that team had LeBron James maybe at the peak of his powers, and this team does not. And as good as Wembanyama is, he's not on that level yet. And we'll see how. But I do think it's going to be really interesting to see how they come out in Game 1. Are they going to be demoralized by this? Or are they going to say
Game 5?
Game 5. How they come out in the first quarter of Game 5. I think it's going to be really interesting to see. Are they going to come out be demoralized, or are they going to come out and say, we're cool? We know in our locker room we've been the better team, even though we're down 3-1. We believe in our process. We believe in what we're doing, and we're going to come out and punch you in the face again, and we just can't blow it this time. That's, I think, what Game 1 will come down to. Or Game 5. I did it again. Game 5.
No worries. But Game 5 is set up for Saturday. It's going to be very interesting. I'm not counting on San Antonio, to be honest with you. Again, we've seen them make mistakes time and time again and be able to overcome them. But the odds are now against them. Their backs are literally against the wall, and they put themselves against the wall. Even on that last play, to Victor to not be in the area to get that rebound.
Exactly. Had the same thought.
Yep. That's a shame. I mean, if you just take a look at the picture of it you see on ESPN.com, and he is like at the back end of it and not being there when it matters the most. That's where you got to be. Experienced players will be able to do that. And I thought his talent again would overcome any experience issues, but that talent can only take you so far. You still have to make the right decisions. And Game 2, where he threw the ball off of Castle and 2 missed shots in the final minute. And then now you see what's going on here. Again, just mistakes right and left by a young team. And the thing is, though, okay, you'll say, oh, okay, yeah, it's a young team. They'll be back. There's no guarantee they'll be back. As we've seen with the last 8 years, there's no guarantee you'll be back at the stage. So you've got to make the right moves at this time. And it means more than anything at this point in time to make everything count and to play smart basketball. And they just didn't. They just didn't that second half. New York has been the recipient of 2 great gifts in this playoffs, but you have to give them credit for having the perseverance to be able to follow through just that.
Yeah, I mean, this is super impressive stuff from New York. Like, this is just trust in your process, knowing you're made of the right stuff, and being clutch. Like, that's what this comes down to. And San Antonio, like Wemby had the bad moments at the end of Game 2, and then tonight, I think he missed 9 of his last 10 shots, I think, and missed the 2 free throws late, and wasn't there for a rebound when, like, come on. I mean, I get they switched him on to Brunson on the perimeter so that he couldn't get a good shot off, and that part of it worked. But as soon as that shot goes off his fingertips, you're
94 feet tall. You need to run and make sure you at least tip the rebound around, because that's all it needed to be. You tip it up in the air or tip it out or whatever, and they get something off and it's not right at the rim and whatever. But he was kind of watching the ball. He didn't cave all the way in for the rebound. So some not great moments from Victor at the end of these games after he really was amazing in the clutch against OKC. So, I mean, we all remember the long ball, obviously. So he's gonna. But I mean, this is all what I think that all of us in my camp who are kind of saying, well, you got to have the experience. This is what we thought would happen with this team, but we just thought it would happen earlier against the teams that are as good as Minnesota and as good as Oklahoma City. But they didn't. But now they're finally rearing their head against a fully healthy, fully formed, awesome championship contending team. And so, I just don't know. It's hard to quantify for the Knicks because, you got to go through all these little moments where they did this and did that, but it's just kind of these slowly but surely. They come in their runs. Like tonight they had I think like a 13-0 or 13-2 run in the third, and then another one similar in the fourth. So, I mean, they come in their runs, but like it's not as if obviously I think, was it against Cleveland? They did in game one where they did have like a 30.
They had a 22-0 run.
Yeah, they had that insane run. But for the most part, like in this series, it's mostly just been them. They're slowly but surely walking them down, staying confident. And I mean, when we were predicting this series, this was a known thing with the Knicks and how that this was an ability of theirs. And I said, I just think San Antonio proved against OKC that they can thwart this stuff. They're mature beyond their years and they can overcome and kind of reject these late game comebacks. But the Knicks are made of special stuff, and that's a lot of that's Brunson, who we've seen. This was his best game of the series by far. I think he had 35, 37 somewhere in there. I mean, he was phenomenal, making tough shots. That three he made on an island, one-on-one over Wemby when he's probably 6 foot and Wemby's God knows how tall. Just super impressive stuff from one of the best players in the league. And I mean, when he plays this well, and then you also get the support of a guy like an Anunoby, and you do get role players hitting threes like Alvarado, who really filled in for what Shamit's been for a lot of these playoffs for New York. Shamit maybe goes to the wayside, and Mike Brown, who I've been hard on at times, commend all the props to him for knowing like, okay, this isn't Shamit's. We're putting Jose in a spot, and he played Alvarado a ton in the second half, and he obviously. Even the heady play at the end where it looks like a backcourt violation, but because he's smart enough and knows the rules, he knows actually it has to be like I have to have – it was something like he has to have 2 feet and the ball across, and he never did. So then instead of being a backcourt, he got fouled. Like just stuff like that, a really heady play from him. He's going to be an unsung hero this game because of how awesome Brunson and Anunoby were. But it's just a total team effort from the Knicks. If it's not Anunoby, it's Bridges. If it's not Bridges, it's Towns. And then Brunson's a constant. And then they've been able to always get one of Alvarado or Shamit to show up and help him out. So, man, this Knicks team, it's going to be interesting to see. This seems like another one to me that would be like a crazy magical 1-year run. And then next year we see who wins. I mean, we see what we all thought all the year this year was, I guess, whoever the finals or the Western Conference Finals. We'll see what happens after that. And the Knicks said, oh, are they? We're going to actually go up 3-1, and we're going to maybe win in 5 games. So, I mean, you just can't overstate how impressive tonight was from the Knicks, because a lot of this rightfully is going to go on the Spurs collapse, and the Spurs are deserving because of how horrible that Fox moment was, how bad the Wemby missed free throws were, and just the lack of stopping momentum from Mitch Johnson. But we just got to make sure that the Knicks get their plenty of credit, because this is a crazy comeback, man. Like we're probably never going to see another one like this. Like there's the best of all time only can happen. Every best of all time individually only happens once until something breaks it. So I don't think we're going to see a 30-pointer anytime soon in the NBA Finals. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe they'll do that next. But I don't know. This is going to be a really tough one mentally for the Spurs to overcome, and that would be my main thing, because I totally agree that the Spurs are the better team, but it's just now such a mental game where it's like, man, what do we have to do to put this team away? And we just blew that lead. It's going to be tough, man. I don't think they can. I don't think anyone can, like I've said a few times already. So we'll see if the Spurs somehow do pull this off, then that's already like an even scarier. That's almost a scarier proposition than if they just would have swept it for the rest of the league, because that shows this mental fortitude, this ability to strike back that only one team ever has had. And again, they had LeBron about 17 years into his career, 15 years into his career. No, 11 years. No, 13. God, 13 years into his career, LeBron was at that time. So, well, if they can somehow pull this off, which I clearly don't think they're going to, but if they do, then man, I mean, that's crazy to even think about. I don't even think we really need to get on that yet because we'll have a full another NBA observations before that even can happen. So, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, my eyes are really going to be on how San Antonio comes out in Game 5 because I think that's going to be a huge indicator of where they're at mentally, which I think is just as important as where they're at talent-wise, which I think is on top still.
You and I both, my friend. Again, this is now seriously in the state of where their mental is at, where their mental state is at in San Antonio. Can they go ahead and recover from this? Because a lot of teams won't, and a lot of teams can't. But we will see. They're at least going back home.
Yeah,
they're going to play in front of their home crowd, and they're going to try and do what they can to go ahead and not get eliminated. But if they pick up any momentum at all on Saturday and do get the victory out there in San Antonio, you never know.
You never know. The Knicks have the luxury of showing themselves and everyone that they can go in there and win. They did twice already. San Antonio hasn't even won a game in San Antonio in these finals yet. So New York's going to walk in there like they rule the world, and we'll see if San Antonio can muster up the confidence and not be shaken by this. And I'm not putting it past them. This is a team that's shown so much resilience at such a young age, but this is all-time stuff. Like this is something that's no team has ever had to go through this before. No team's ever blown a 29-point lead in the NBA Finals. So I don't know. I mean, I think that I think New York will close out at home. I think San Antonio will take one more, but yeah, I mean, it's just like it's the old sports adage, right? Like, don't let us get one. Don't let us get one, and then that starts to snowball. And if San Antonio just wins that one, then who knows? Then you only have to win 2 in a row instead of 3 in a row. So it's I mean, as they always are, Game 5 of the finals will be a must-watch and a very important game. That's not new, but this one feels like because of how this series has gone, where I think everyone watching would come to the same conclusion where it's like San Antonio is the more talented, better team, but I don't think they've been better coached, and they haven't been as resilient, and they've struggled to close games out, and those are things that keep popping up. And now, even if they go up big and then New York makes a little run and New York gets it down to 12 and they're on a 10-0 run, it's going to creep into everybody's head. It's going to creep into the fans in San Antonio's head. It's going to creep into the Spurs' head. The Knicks clearly already know, like, we're good. We can fall down 30 and we can come back. We don't need, whatever. And so it's a mental game at this point for San Antonio because San Antonio is the better team. If it was just still played on paper, San Antonio can absolutely win 3 games in a row. But that's not what this is anymore. This is now a mental thing where the Knicks are going to feel like they could beat any team ever. The Knicks are going to feel like they could be in Washington Generals jerseys and they could be in Harlem Globetrotters jerseys and they would still go out and win. That's what the Knicks are going to feel like. And so can the Spurs say, that's cool that you feel like that, we're the better team and we're going to win? That's what it's going to come down to, obviously. And my money's just on no. I just think these Knicks are, I mean, all season, my whole thing has been like, I don't like to bet against history. I don't like to say firsts or seconds are going to happen. And I was wrong on that once with San Antonio because this is the first. This is the youngest team. This is all that. Least experienced team, I should say. But this is another one. Like, are they going to do another all-time crazy early thing and complete the second ever 3-1 comeback? My money's on no. So obviously, I mean, monster for the Knicks to do this and go up 3-1, and we'll see. I mean, Game 5 is going to be like I said, an important one to say the least. I don't think you can really put into words. I mean, in the viewership has been insane too. Like this feels like a very momentous moment and momentous finals for the league, for Wemby's potential GOAT arc, for what Jalen Brunson going to be the best Knick of all time if they win this? All these conversations that are going to happen, and being the best Knick of all time, that matters a little bit more than being the best Hawk of all time. Like that, it's just a different status. We see a guy like John Starks at all these games, and I think Brunson's already there clearly. But if he wins this championship, man, they might retire his jersey before he retires. Like there's a lot on the line, even more beyond just the typical, if we win the title. There's more than that on the line. There's if Wemby completes a 3-1 comeback in his third year, good Lord, what the trajectory he's on in terms of legacy. If they don't, then if they just bow out in 5 because they're mentally defeated, then Wemby just had a pretty bad finals. And like not very many of the greatest of all time had a bad finals. And his numbers are going to be fine, but those who watch know that the meltdowns at the end of game 2 and game 4 that he played a big part in both, they were kind of on him, and you're the star of the team, and that's how it goes. So huge game 5, bigger than the average elimination finals game, in my opinion. And I'm just already wish it was Saturday. So excited for it.
And people are checking out. I did get earlier today the ratings for Game 3, and it's the highest rated NBA Finals Game 3 this century. And almost 24 million people tuned in on Monday night on an average, and I'm sure it was higher at some points in time, or above 24 million, as far as that's concerned. So they are checking out. They saw this game. If they tuned out, they tuned back in the fourth quarter. That's for sure. But I am eager to see what will happen on Saturday, indeed. But Calif, I cannot thank you enough for coming in on this emergency pod real quick. But yeah, you wanted to talk about it, and definitely, absolutely wanted to do that myself. So it's great to have you here. But my friend, is there any last thoughts before we head into Game 5 on Saturday?
I don't think so. I think I've kind of said my pieces, my things that I'm watching for. I mean, it's going to be early game. I think first quarter, we're going to know how the game's going to go personally. Or is it going to have to be another Knicks comeback? Or is it going to be the Spurs have kind of, they've been mentally defeated? I don't suspect that'll be the case, but who knows? This is a crazy mental hurdle to get over. And
De'Aaron Fox has just got to be livid with himself. That was just...
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a tough moment. You can't be the vet. You can't be the oldest guy who's a key member of the team. You can't be the guy who they started at point guard when he was healthy all season over Harper and have that moment. Like, I don't think Harper would have done that. I already trust Harper so much more than I trust Fox. And that was before that moment. And now after that, man, I don't know. I don't know. They're not going to trade anyone off this team. They shouldn't. He should not. Whatever. Like, this is the fun where we're going to act like these are terrible, horrible results for San Antonio in their grand scheme of things. They were in the finals and are having some bad moments, younger than anybody ever has. And so I don't want to overstep because of how huge the moment is. But I don't know how you can look at your team next year. Maybe you want to start all 3 of those guards, but you're pretty small if you do that. I don't know how next year, if you're San Antonio, you can start Fox over Harper. Harper is amazing. For him to be doing this, he was so good tonight. Like, he's, his dad's sending out tweets. His dad's talking crap in the stands. He might be annoyed by it if you're a Knicks fan or whatever. His dad's probably the only one to be like, I was right. Like, my son went 7-12 or whatever he went. Like, he was great, and he's a rookie. So the Harper Fox thing is going to be interesting to see how that plays out long term. And I think this is going to be one of those crucial moments that we look back on when like that clock gets accelerated, because everyone's been talking about it all year already, where it's like, are we sure why don't they trade Fox? Why don't they do this? And I always kind of push back. But now Harper's so good, and Fox playing just equals less on-ball minutes for Harper. That's just that there's no way around that. And I don't know how you can look yourself in the mirror for San Antonio and take the ball out of Harper Castle's hands for 1 minute. And for Fox to not really ever have... He was good during this regular season before he got an injury towards the end of the year. He was on the borderline of being an all-star. He had been good, but for how good Castle and Harper are, I don't think you can have the ball out of those two's hands as your guards for more than, 12 minutes a game. And Fox is a really good player. He demands more than 12 minutes a game, and he demands a lot more money than what you want to pay someone who pays 12 minutes a game. So will be interesting to see what happens with him long-term. Maybe next year at the deadline, we'll be talking about something, but you might have been on, like I said this yesterday, you might have been on to something with that Jaren Jackson Fox thing for San Antonio.
Or Giannis now. It's now Giannis.
Oh,
it has to be.
I don't know. That's a pretty seismic change, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. Apparently, they're not going to trade Giannis till after the finals. So
yes, he can't come in there right now. Giannis Antetokounmpo is now walking through that door.
No, the report today was that the Bucks want to hold him because just in case the Knicks blow the lead, we want to see if the Knicks make a panic offer. I don't think the Knicks are going to make a panic offer, man. I think the Knicks are going to run this team back no matter what.
Yes, he wouldn't be. By the way, he would not be eligible, even if that's the case. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So sorry, everyone. Giannis is not walking that door through that door for either team. It is though one of the better finals that we've seen in some time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I could say for sure. Yeah, it's been a good one so far as just from an NBA fan perspective, Caliph.
Yeah, there's these huge narratives. Like last year, if you just loved basketball, last year's was like great if you just love watching the game. But like OKC and Indiana, I mean, I'm an OKC guy. Like that's not, if you're a casual fan, that's not a particularly entertaining series. People clearly don't love watching how OKC plays, all this stuff. This is the icon of the next generation against the most starved, iconic franchise we have, and that the stars had to perfectly align for this. And I mean, certain sections of fans are going to hate that that's the reality. Hey, the numbers are the numbers, man. Like look at the viewership. It's all these are the most watched finals games since Jordan's retirement year. Like that's where these are coming in. So more watched than 2016 Cavs Warriors, more watched than all those. This is going to be remembered as a moment in time, whether it's the year Wemby not only established himself as maybe one of the first players of the modern era to be even in consideration for the best player in the world in his third year. But like if they win, it's going to be the year that, oh my God, he came back from 3-1 at 22 years old with his third best player as a 20-year-old point guard. And if the Knicks win, it's going to be the year Brunson mania. Brunson's a superhero, and he never has to pay for a meal again in New York City. And the Knicks broke the streak. And
neither does OG Anunoby.
Neither does anybody on this roster, for being honest. Is Dylan Jones. Hey, Dylan Jones is on the brink of being our new Patrick McCaw watch, by the way. Dylan Jones, Thunder last year, one of the rare just Sam Presti whiffs, just a complete flyby fastball, swung at it way late whiff by Sam Presti with Dylan Jones. Randomly finds his way to New York, and he's on the Knicks roster, and here he is on the brink of winning another championship. So Dylan Jones almost about to have 2 rings, a lot more than I'll ever have in my life. So shout out to Dylan Jones. Thanks for the memories in OKC from me. But
and a shout out to Ariel Hukporti, who is probably thanking his lucky stars that Bronny got picked ahead of him.
I thought they were going to send him out there for the hit. After all the talk on social media, I thought when he went in the game, I was like, oh my God, they're doing it. They're going to send him out there. He's going to clothesline Wemby. He's going to do something. And then, no, they're just in foul trouble because the refs were heavy on the whistle against the Knicks early in the game, as you kind of mentioned earlier. So, Hukporti, you'll always, for your whole life, be able to say you played in the NBA Finals, and maybe the most watched one of the first 26 years of the 2000s. You'll be able to say that too. So, shout out to Ariel. Shout out to the guys at the end of the benches here, because championship counts the same for everybody. So, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, no one on this Knicks team is paying for a thing in that city ever again. If they win, probably even if they lose. But can't say enough about OG tonight. I think he's one of the best at this. But I mean, again, I've really, in my writing on here, harped on how important I think big wings are in the NBA right now. No one but a big wing could have done what he did tonight. He had the speed to get in. He had the verticality and athleticism and height to get up and tip it in. And so yet another win for us in the big wing community here with OG's performance tonight. But yeah, I mean, just a awesome, amazing series, despite if you're not watching the games and you just, oh, it's 3-1. It can't be that close. It's about as close as it gets. And it's been A+ cinematic basketball. So, awesome stuff, and we'll see what happens in Game 5. I think we're all on the edge of our seats to see if the Knicks are really going to do this already, or if San Antonio has one last punch to throw.
We will see indeed, but you and I will be back as far as talking about this most likely early next week. Although you're always tempted to come back on and get on an emergency pod if that's correct. So if that happens, if there's another 30-pointers as far as to come back, that'll be in the works. But again, I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday. I know you are as well, but I appreciate, as always, you hopping on. Again, you got to go ahead and check out the great work of Calif Poncy today on the Suave Report. You've not only got 1 but 2 recent articles, I believe, on the site. Is that correct?
A few weeks ago, I put out one about that's a really Thunder specific. So if there's any Thunder fans listening to this, I guess then you can go look at that one. I just dove into draft guys for the Thunder, and then yesterday, that's a more I think would be more interesting to general fans. That was more of like, well, how does OKC and Chet Holmgren specifically get over the Victor Wembanyama problem that they and everybody other than the Knicks has, I guess. Those two are both semi-recent, and then I'll probably have some draft stuff start churning out. I'm gonna, I think, release a player profile tomorrow about Nate Ament from Tennessee, and then I'll probably have one or two more yet still before the draft. So I'll start really churning out here. My schedule with my real job has finally calmed down, and now I'm able to get back to doing what I love, writing about NBA. So keep an eye out for a bunch of stuff from me here before the draft starts for sure.
Sounds good indeed. It is Calif Poncy. Please go ahead and check out what he's doing at the New Century Press and, of course, the Suave Report as well. Well, Calif will be back on the NBA observations. I got to get Matt John's thoughts as well. You know, he's probably excited to talk NBA here later this week, and hopefully Legend and Joe Soro will get back with us on a live show here as well. But thank you so much, Calif, for hopping on such short notice. Looking forward to the rest of the finals. And of course, always providing the best in NBA observations.